Hi, it's Melissa here, and today I'm sharing another layout that I made for the Cut Shop. I used the new Foodgram cut file, and that's it there. And here's a quick look at my layout. So what I did was I took two of the phrases, the hashtag food and hashtag yum, and I arranged them in Silhouette Studio, and I replicated them as you can see, and then I cut them. And so I'm using the negative of the cut file as a background. And I'm using the Paige Evans Pink Paisley Take Me Away collection. And I thought this paper was perfect because it's got, it's like colour blocked. And rather than, like originally I thought I'd use a 6x6 paper pad and back all the words in different papers. But when I saw this paper I thought it was perfect, and it made for a really quick and easy and effective background. So I love the way it looks layered over the top. You get blocks of the colour, and it made for really fun embellishing when I kind of colour matched. So here I found that my American Crafts cardstock was slightly smaller than the pattern paper, so I've just trimmed off the edges. I did think about sewing around the edge, but I'm still having some issues with my sewing machine, and in the end I just left it just plain because I think enough was really going on. And I think that the edges of where the cuts are kind of keeps your eye into the middle of the page anyway. So I have these two photos, and I wanted to back each of them in some of the pattern paper from the 6x6 pad, and so I just selected a couple of the patterns that were quite colourful and with smaller patterns. So this one is beautiful, it's like sequins, and I'm just showing you here. I'd already picked that one out ahead of time, but I needed to go through and pick another one. So I just flipped through, and I really like the matte print. Once I got to the matte print I thought I'm not going to waste time going through. I was never going to use this as the matte, but I love the fact it's got lots of different colours on it, and I think it looks really good with my photo. So I didn't want to use too much pattern paper because I really wanted to feature the colours of the background paper. I didn't want to add too much, so I've just kept it to these two. And I've cut around with my scissors in such a way that only 3 of the sides of the square have got pattern paper, and I'll show you why in a sec. So I didn't want pattern paper to go over onto the photo, if you know what I mean. I've backed these photos onto white cardstock to get a white border. I'm still really into that. And then my plan is to use this packaging. It's like tissue paper. Can't actually remember where I got it, but it came with something recently, and I thought it's quite lovely texture because it's kind of translucent. It's a bit more see-through than normal tissue paper. And so I just layered my photos, and then I've just glued them on top of this paper. And I only had one piece handy. I think I've got some more, but I like the look of being able to see through it, so I don't really need to put any more. Normally I would probably cut a couple of pieces if I was using a big sheet of tissue paper, but this is really subtle, and it's not meant to be overpowering, it's just meant to be adding a little bit of texture in the background. So because it is so thin, I need to put some extra tape on just to hold it down. And also because it's going to be the main piece between the background and the photo. So that's why I put quite a lot of double-sided tape down. So I'm loving how that's looking. Now I wanted to add some watercolour as well, because at the moment my background is quite plain. I could have left it and it would have looked fine, but I'm really into these watercolours at the moment. And I'm having a lot of fun with mixing them. I think it's because I haven't had a set that has so many colours in it before. So if you've been watching my videos recently, you'll know that I've been doing a lot of pink and yellow watercolours. And for this one I was determined to stay away with that, so I've gone with colour matching. And I'm just mixing some of the greens, and then I think I add some of the white. And I'm trying to get that kind of minty pale green colour. I think I end up with it a bit darker because I want it to show. And so I'm matching that colour that you can see just on the bottom left. So I just have the two areas of colour, of watercolour, and these are from close to my heart, and they're really creamy, and I'm just loving them. So I can't wait to play some more with them. Okay, so I'm a little bit impatient, so I just dabbed it off there, and I had to set it aside to dry because like water has lifted up these bits of the cut file. So once it was fully dry, I just brought it back and used my glossy accents just to glue those bits that are sticking up. And if I'd done this when it was wet, I find that too often I'm impatient and I'll go and stick something down when it's wet, and all you end up doing is enhancing the warp that's on your paper. So I probably should have cut some of this out, sorry, but anyway. Yeah, you can see exactly what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. Now I didn't worry too much about the bits that were going to be underneath the photos. It was mostly just those bits on the edge. I must say I've got rediscovered my love for the packaging technique, and it's really because I've got these new watercolours. So there I've stuck my photos down, and now I'm looking through the embellishments. So these are the, these are the phrase thickers, I think they're thickers. And I didn't end up using them in the end. So now I'm looking at the chipboard, and it's just beautiful, this collection. I really, really love it. It's got purple in it. I'm not a big fan of purple, but I really do like the shade of purple that's in this collection. These are the wood veneer pieces, and I just love that they're half dipped in the beautiful colours from the collection. I hadn't used any of them yet, so I was really keen to get them out. I took the fantastic word off the chipboard sheet, and I love the font that it's written in. So here I'm taking one of the positive cuts and trimming off the hashtag, so I've just left with the word food. And at this point I thought I'd leave it white, and so the title of my layout is Fantastic Food, because this layout is all about my youngest eating her breakfast. And really what I wanted to tell is that she calls breakfast Brexy, and she's calling it that all year. And so I purposefully took these photos, I think they were back earlier in the year, because I knew I wanted to document her calling her breakfast Brexy. So every morning she'll say, Brexy, I want some Brexy. And she loves Weet-Bix, which is a New Zealand, might be Australian as well, cereal, and a piece of toast. So she's a really good breakfast eater. So I did think about calling the layout Brexy, but then I thought no, we'll just put that into the journaling. And I'm calling it Fantastic Food because she does love her food. So I don't really trust chipboard on its own. I always add glue to it. And I've colour matched those wood veneers, so I've got the yellow with the yellow, the mint with the mint, and I was looking at having the melon colour with the melon, but you'll see that I decided not to go with the three areas. So I did feel the heart was too big, but there's a lot of kind of space in that photo, just with the high chair, that doesn't need to be left. It's not important in the photo is what I'm trying to say. And in the end I just love how that heart looks. Having another look at the chipboard sheet. This is a gold piece, and it doesn't bother me that it's the only piece of gold in terms of embellishment so far on the page. So I needed to just slightly pop up the side that's directly on the cardstock. So I've just used dimensional, and I've put some glossy accents on the other side of the heart. And I will do the same thing with the ampersand. Okay, just dotting the eye, this tiny little dot. So I wanted to put some glossy accents on there. And now I'm having a look again, and I've gone with that mint bow, and I've just layered it on top of the wood veneer. And I didn't think I needed to add any glue, but later on, I think I didn't date this one, I had to look it up on the computer, but when I was looking for it, I accidentally knocked it and it came off. So my advice is definitely put some glue behind the chipboard. So I've done the same thing with the ampersand, and I'm just weighting them down with that punch. Just because I haven't used glossy accents much, and I didn't know whether it would dry quickly and it does, and it's very strong. So here I'm working on colouring the word food because I felt that the white was quite stark, and because I'm layering it on my photo, I wanted it to not be so white. So I'm just colouring it in pinky kind of colour, and I think had a bit of greeny blue colour left on my brush, and it kind of blended really well with the pink. I'm not spending too much time on this, it doesn't need to be perfect, and I don't want to oversaturate the paper either because, as you know, unprepared cardstock just soaks paper, soaks the water. So I'll put that aside to dry. And now I'm just doing my journaling, so I'm talking about Brexy, how she loves it, what she has. I think I put that in there. And actually, Brielle loves looking at these layouts, and I display them in our dining room. I can display 3 at a time. So every time she looks at this, she says, Brexy, Brexy, like she knows it. She says, me having Brexy. So I love that. I mean, it just emphasises more why I'm scrapbooking this memory. So here I've glued down the word food, and I use glossy accents again because out of Tombow, and I've just glued it to slightly overlap the word fantastic. Looking through the chipboard sheet again because I want to have 3 elements in each of these clusters. So I've found a yellow heart. Now I've got the buttons. These buttons are a lot smaller than the first collection. They're really sweet. So I've gone with a yellow bow and just a minty coloured normal button. And what I do off camera is hand stitch them on. So I don't like the look of buttons without thread in them. I think they look unfinished, so I just add that and it gives it a finished look. So I just glued them with a little bit of glossy accents on the edge of each button, underneath of course, away from the holes, and that's enough just to hold them down before I stitch them. So my final thing was just to add some gold colour shine just in a couple of spots, and that's my layout. So there's a couple of close-ups coming up. Hope you enjoyed this, and definitely head on over to the Etsy store and pick up the cut file. And there's heaps of awesome cut files in here as well, so make sure you have a look. Thank you so much for watching.